Hello everyone, and I welcome you to another tutorial on the Map Gold series channel. Today I'm going to be taking you through a beginner-friendly method of making your liquid soap. If you have never made liquid soap before, here is a beginner-friendly method. So first of all, go through the reagents we'll be using. Our cellulose, our caustic soda, we'll be using our soda ash. We are going to be using our sulfonic acid as well as our Hexapon. After Hexapon, we are also going to be using our sodium laureth sulfate. We are going to be using our STPP, which is sodium tripolyphosphate. We are also going to be needing our foaming booster, our preservative, as well as our color. Come along with me. To make this production, we are going to be needing to dissolve these powders into liquid. We are also going to be dissolving our sulfonic acid and our Hexapon. So here I already measured 2 liters of water. I'm going to be dissolving my soda ash with 2 liters of water. So I measured my 2 liters of water using my measuring cup, and here am I opening up the soda ash to pour it inside the water to make sure that it has dissolved before it's time for me to use. This particular period we refer to it as the pre-production process. There are 1 or 2 things you need to do before you start your proper production. One of such is dissolving your reagents, especially the powders. Dissolving them and making sure that they are already in liquid form before you use them for your production. So here is my soda ash. I'm using just 200 grams of my soda ash. You can use 200, you can use 250, depending on the thickness you want for that particular production. Now, like I said earlier, this is a beginner-friendly method. A beginner-friendly method. You will not need to be watching out. Maybe the soap will be cloudy. You will not be scared. So here am I measuring 1 liter of water, using it to dissolve my sodium laureth sulfate, which we normally call SLS. So I'm dissolving my 100 grams of my SLS inside 1 liter of water. 100 grams of my SLS, dissolving it inside 1 liter of water. The soda ash followed by the SLS takes a little while to dissolve. So whenever I want to make this kind of production, I make sure that I dissolve my soda ash first, followed by my SLS. Liquid soap production is easy to produce. So now I'm trying to show you the different reagents. I showed you the caustic soda, the Hexapon, and the likes. Now here is my sulfonic acid. So I'm going to be pouring the sulfonic acid inside another bowl, and I'm going to be scooping in my Hexapon into it. So I'm going to be mixing both the sulfonic acid and the Hexapon with water. Come along as we do. So I just measured my I just poured in my sulfonic acid into this bowl. I'm pinking my Hexapon, and I'm going to be cutting it inside the sulfonic acid. Sulfonic acid and Hexapon are both foaming agents. So you can use only your sulfonic acid and you can use only your Hexapon. However, sulfonic acid and Hexapon have slightly different benefits in your soap. So it is advisable you use the two together. So you can see me using my spatula to mix the sulfonic acid and the Hexapon so that the Hexapon will dissolve. So the sulfonic acid is hot and the Hexapon is cold. Mixing them together makes it easier to dissolve. If you intend to use your sulfonic acid alone, you add water this way, you are good to go. If you intend to use your Hexapon for this production alone as a beginner, you may need to soak it overnight to make sure that the Hexapon has totally dissolved. Otherwise, you may need to dissolve it with either of your salts, maybe your kitchen salt, or you need to dissolve it with your sodium sulfate or your STPP. Either of these will go. Now, I will be able to show us some of these practicals as we go by. If you are a newbie, you need to subscribe to this channel, because over here you will have opportunity to watch several practicals on your soap making, liquid soap, bar soap, your detergent, your black soap. So as you can see, I already poured in my sulfonic acid, I put in my Texapon, I added water. So I added 750 ml of water. For those people that are usually coming back to ask me how many liters of water did you use, in this sulfonic solution, I added 750 ml of water. You can add more depending on the measurement of sulfonic you intend or you are using in your production. Here am I stirring in my soda ash to be sure that the soda ash are totally dissolved. I'm also going back to the SLS to be sure that the SLS are totally dissolved. You need patience in the pre-production process, because how prepared you are in your pre-production process is going to determine how good or how glossy your soap will turn out to be. So some people come to the comment section to ask me, I made my soap and it's having seed. If you dissolve your powder reagent very well, your soap will not have seed. Now we are going into the production proper. I already measured 2 liters for my soda ash, 1 liter for my SLS, and 75 ml for my sulfonic acid. Here am I measuring 6 liters of water into my mixing bowl. So I already measured 1 cup because the cup is 2 liters. I measured the second cup because the cup is 2 liters, making 4 liters. And here am I measuring the third cup, making it to complete the 6 liters that we are supposed to use to complete our 10 liters. It is worthy of note. Here is my cellulose. My cellulose, you can see how small the cellulose is. It's just 50 grams. So I cut up the cellulose and poured it into the water. Make sure if you pour in your cellulose, you do not take off your hand from the water, because some people pour in their cellulose and go back to do 1 or 2 things. Before you return, the cellulose will have thickened underneath the water, and it's usually difficult to lighten it up after then. So don't pour in your cellulose until you are ready for the production. You are ready, you are not leaving that spot, you pour in your cellulose and you are ready with other reagents. So here is my caustic soda. I am using just 50 grams of my caustic soda, pouring in the caustic soda into this bowl of water. So the water that I'm using for my caustic soda is just 300 ml of water. Instead of, this is 500 ml cup, I decided to pour in the caustic soda inside. While I'm waiting for my caustic soda to dissolve, I went back to stir the cellulose inside the water. I just explained to us that we need to make sure that we do not take off our hand from the cellulose since we have poured in cellulose into the water. On a normal day, dissolving the caustic soda should be part of the pre-production process. But because I call this a beginner-friendly method, I am conscious of the time, I am conscious of the method, and I'm teaching this particular method for the first time on this channel. So when you pour in your caustic soda, I poured in my caustic soda into a bigger cup just to be sure that the granules of the caustic soda have totally dissolved. So as you can see, the caustic soda will dissolve. It will no longer be as cloudy as it is when I first of all started. So I'm pouring in my caustic soda solution into the water that contains only my cellulose. This method is referred to as a method where you pour in your washing agent before your foaming agent. Our caustic soda is a washing agent. Our soda ash is a washing agent. So I'm pouring in my washing agent before pouring in my foaming agent. I made another video earlier that is also beginner friendly. However, in that particular video, I poured in my foaming agent before my washing agent. After my caustic soda, here am I pouring in my soda ash. So you can decide to pour in the soda ash at once, and you can decide to pour it little by little. Now, if you pour in your soda ash at once, if the soda ash is exactly 200 grams like I told us to use in this particular video, then we are good to go. So it's not going to be cloudy, the soap will come out transparent, the liquid soap will come out fine. This liquid soap is good for sale. This liquid soap is something you can use in your house. This liquid soap is something you can supply to people that wants to buy in bulk, or you want to measure for them, or you want to sell to a company. The liquid soap is a qualitative one. Our foaming agent will soon go in. So after adding in my caustic soda, I added my soda ash. Here am I about to start adding in my foaming agents. So my sulfonic acid and my hexapon, like I said earlier, are both foaming agents. So we added water to our sulfonic acid and our hexapon to break the strength of the acid, because you can understand that sulfonic acid from the name is an acid. So therefore, the strength of the sulfonic acid affects the soap in some cases. So because I labeled this beginner friendly, I decided to add water to the sulfonic acid and the hexapon to break the strength of the sulfonic acid and the hexapon to make it easy for you as a beginner. If you are a newbie, you are welcome on board. You can feel free to go around the channel and watch several other videos we have made on different kind of soap. If you are an old subscriber, thank you for sticking around. You can message me on the kind of videos you want me to make that is all about this soap making, our household usables, our body use, and especially the business of such. If you are not in the paid class, you are interested in making money out of soap making and other household usables, I invite you to come to the paid class. I added little water into this bowl to rinse it, to make sure that I rinse my foaming agent thoroughly into the mixing bowl. You know, the foaming agent, a lot of people come to the walk-in store. Customers are interested in foaming. So our foaming agent must be intact. Now, here is my STPP. Normally, I'm supposed to have poured in my STPP into my soda ash, but I omitted it while I was doing this production. So when you are making your production, you can pour in your soda ash and your STPP together, and you will be good to go. So I'm dissolving this into another 300 ml of water, dissolving my STPP inside 300 ml of water. I'll be holding on for it to dissolve before pouring it into the solution. So you will have saved yourself this stress if you remember to add your STPP with your soda ash like I instructed earlier. Now, this liquid soap will pass for sale and for use at home. You can use it in your washing machine. You can use it to wash plates. You can, because some people come asking, can I use liquid soap to wash my clothes? Oh yes. For several years now, almost 2 decades, I've used liquid soap to wash all my clothes. No matter the kind of clothes. So far, you use the correct measurement of your washing powders. The caustic soda will not affect the color or the texture of your clothes. It is only when you misuse or you miscalculate the recipe that you make a soap that is hot and not in order that is to affect your fabrics. Here am I pouring in my STPP. I also poured in the STPP into a bigger cup to be sure that the granules of the STPP are totally dissolved. So after that, I decided to pour it. So when you pour in liquid content, you pour water into water, like I usually say. You will not find lumps in your soap. It is only when you are not observant enough to check if your soda ash has totally dissolved, your SLS has totally dissolved, or your STP are totally dissolved. All these granules, if you are not checking them, if they are totally dissolved before you pour them, then you may find seed inside your soap. Here is my foaming booster. So another trick for you as a beginner. My foaming booster is 100 ml, and I poured in a little so that I can mix my fragrance with my foaming booster. In this particular production, I'm using pineapple as my fragrance. You know, the smell of the soap, the aroma rather. The aroma of the soap will lift you. You will smell it and you will be glad that, oh, this is wonderful. Now, I mixed my fragrance with my foaming booster. This is also to break the fragrance. The fragrance is raw. So in some cases, when you pour in your fragrance, it's going to affect the soap. Sometimes it makes the soap go watery. Sometimes it makes the soap that is originally transparent, it makes it go cloudy. So please take note of these little details. So I mixed in my foaming booster with my fragrance, and before you know it, I poured it into it without having any reaction. Here is my color. I'm adding in my color into little water so that I can be able to pour it into the soap. Also worthy of note is that you don't have to use too much color. When you use too much color, in fact, some people buy it in the walk-in store without adding color. I also make some soap sometimes to my home without adding color. So color is for aesthetics purpose, to beautify the soap, probably to help us to know what is the purpose of the soap. I hope to make a video on color, on how to color your soap properly soon. So if you want me to make that video, I will expect you to discuss that in the comment section. So here is my SLS. I added in my SLS into that bowl, dissolved it. Now I'm adding in my SLS. Thereafter, here is my green color. Our soap is almost ready. I'm adding in my green color into the soap. You can add any color of your choice. I said that earlier. If you want me to make a video to explain in details the role of coloring in our soap and the kind of best color we're supposed to use for different kind of soap, I'm going to make a video to that, but I will need you to comment under this particular video color. Then I will be able to know that people are interested in that particular video. So I just added in my green color, and you can see how beautiful this soap is. So if you are a passerby, don't forget to subscribe to this channel. Here we make DIYs. So you can see that I did not finish using my color. You don't have to compulsorily finish using your color. I made a video where I showed us a particular one that I used too much color. And okay, here is my fragrance. Here is my preservative rather. So I just remember that I'm supposed to add preservative. In some of my soaps, I don't have preservative. But a lot of customers come into the walk-in store asking for preservative. So when you want preservative, please notify wherever you are buying your soap. You can see how glossy this soap is. So this soap is not costing you so much money. And at the end of the day, you are going to make profit. If you are using it at home with the economy, you are going to have saved a lot of money. Thank you, and see you in my next video.